Well, if Hollywood does get around to making a movie about Petraeus, they might want to turn to our next guest. David Baldacci's first novel, Absolute Power, became a 1997 film starring and directed by Clint Eastwood. The best-selling author of political thrillers is now out with his 25th book. It is called The Forgotten, and it features the return of the popular character, Army Special Agent John Puller. David Baldacci, welcome.
Thank you.
So we just saw that great piece about whether this Hollywood is interested in the Petraeus movie. Do you think it would make a good novel, a good movie?
I hope not. I mean, it's just a black mark against the military and against the United States, and I think it has so much a bad effect on family, all the people that's left behind. And no, I think we should move on from that and do something else, not that.
A lot of your books, though, do center on Washington and government stuff. What makes a good political thriller?
Oh, there's lots of corruption out there, obviously. Yeah. You know, I look across the river from Virginia. I was like, oh, I have too many ideas to write about. But I think people are intrigued about power and high stakes, and they want to see people knocked off the pedestal as well. And I think that people just have this idea that power corrupts, and you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it's intriguing. They want to look behind the curtain and see how the sausage is made. They know something is going on.
Is there more interest in Washington intrigue today than there has been in the past?
I think so. I mean, if you look at the last election cycle, we were inundated, as was the whole country, but I think people now are focused on D.C. because so much power, so much of what's going to happen in their lives, the impact emanates from that one city. At least if you listen to talk radio and stuff, it seems to be that way. But they are definitely influenced by what happens in
Washington.
And
I think of the success of something like Homeland.
Oh yeah, a brilliant series. And again, it's power, it's stakes, and things going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and spies and intrigue. And,
it is. It's right in the sweet spot of, thrillers.
No, and so your 25th book, The Forgotten, has
Glad
nothing
you told me
to
that. I forgot it was the 25th.
Yes, let me tell you, it's the 25th. I just happen to have it here. Do you mind if I hold it up?
Please do.
So it deals with human trafficking, which to me was a new topic for you.
Well, you try to stretch with every book and do something. I asked the question, how can I do it differently with each book? Not how I did it the last time. So this was something that I think is a serious problem. It's kind of like the Underground Railroad in reverse. We're taking people to enslavement. You think, well, this was settled in the United States 150 years ago. It's not.
Yeah. Human trafficking is a huge problem, and it's not just around the world, in the United States as well.
It absolutely is. It's all about money. It's all about profit.
Yeah. Nick Kristof writes about it too, constantly around the world.
I know, he does. Does a great job doing it too.
So set up the story briefly, David, for people who haven't read the book.
John Puller's an Army investigator. He gets a letter from his aunt that there's something going on in Paradise, Florida. I was stunned. Nobody had named the actual town Paradise. I was able to use it. And,
which is anything but paradise, by the way.
It is. It's sort of my idea of symbolically on the surface, it's beautiful and pristine and perfect, but if you scratch a little bit underneath the underbelly, it's really dirty and exploits lots of people. So it's basically a town where nothing is what it seems to be. He goes down to find out what's wrong. His aunt is dead when he gets there, and he's sort of thrown into this mystery of why she was killed and who was behind it. And people are saying it's just an accident, but he has a lot of skill and training in this. He knows it's not just an accident.
It's fascinating to see his training at work, and at some point in the novel you talk about the lack of emotion in men, which I thought was really interesting the way you did it. What are you trying to say something to us? Well,
I think, our society doesn't allow men to show emotions readily. And certainly not in the military. I mean, that's not part of their training. You're not supposed to cry. And you're supposed to keep a bottle inside. And that has a lot of problems in and of itself, too, that can blow up in certain ways.
Looking for release.
Our society doesn't really allow that. And I think it really hampers men and makes them less than three-dimensional.
In your mind's eye, what does John Puller look like? I mean, who do you see?
He is, he's a big guy. He is sort of ramrod straight. On the surface himself, and this is another idea of what's on the surface, he seems sort of almost perfect, this machine. But underneath he has a lot of baggage, a lot of things he has to deal with, and at some point those cracks are going to come to the surface and you're going to see things happen.
But I think that people are attracted by that idea of vulnerability.
Every character I write about is flawed. I write in the world of gray, not black and white.
David Baldacci, thank you and congratulations.